On a clear night in Key West, people say you can almost see the lights. 90 miles. That's it. 90 miles of water between Florida and an island that 10 American presidents, 10, tried to bend, break, isolate, invade, and outlast. Every one of them failed. And here's the strange part. They mostly failed the same way. This is the story of Cuba, Washington, and 60 years of the same mistake. You're listening to 90 Miles Apart. Let's start in 1959, January 1959. Fidel Castro rolls into Havana. He's 32 years old, and this is the part people forget, he's not a Soviet ally yet. That spring, he actually visits the United States, eats hot dogs, lays a wreath at the Lincoln Memorial. President Eisenhower refuses to see him. He goes golfing. Within 2 years, Eisenhower cuts Cuba's sugar quota, slaps on the first embargo, and signs off on a secret CIA invasion plan. He treated a nationalist revolution like a Soviet plot, before it was one. And in doing so, he helped make it one. Mistake number 1. Create the enemy you're afraid of. Kennedy inherits the invasion plan. April 1961, the Bay of Pigs. 1,400 exiles hit the beach, and Washington is certain the Cuban people will rise up to join them. They don't. It's over in 3 days. Castro parades the prisoners on TV, and overnight, he goes from revolutionary to national defender. And it gets worse. The failed invasion hands Khrushchev his excuse to put missiles on the island, and in October 1962, the world comes closer to nuclear war than it ever has. Before or since. Kennedy's mistake, believing America understood Cuba better than Cubans did. Lyndon Johnson? Honestly, Vietnam swallowed him whole. Cuba went on autopilot, which meant every failing policy just kept running. Covert ops, tighter embargo, deeper isolation. His mistake was quieter than the others, assuming a policy that isn't working just needs more time. Remember that one, it comes back. Now here's the one that should have changed everything. Richard Nixon, the ultimate Cold Warrior, flies to Beijing, toasts Chairman Mao, then Moscow, arms deals with Brezhnev. The man proves America can talk to any communist power on earth, except the small one next door. Nixon had met Castro back in '59 and loathed him ever since. The grudge outlived the logic. Mistake number 4. Proving engagement works with giants. Saklurar another believe this in we. And refusing to try it with a neighbor. Here's a piece of history almost nobody remembers. Under Gerald Ford, secret talks actually opened. 1974, 1975. Quiet meetings. Real movement toward normalization. Then Castro sends troops to Angola, and Ford kills the talks entirely. The mistake? Letting a proxy war an ocean away destroy a negotiation 90 miles away. And it set the precedent. From now on, any opening to Cuba dies the moment anything goes wrong anywhere. Jimmy Carter gets closer than anyone. He lifts the travel ban. He opens interest sections in Havana and Washington, embassies in all but name. Then, 1979, Soviet troops spotted in Cuba. Then, 1980, the Mariel boat lift. 125,000 refugees landing in Florida in an election year. Carter retreats. His instinct was right. His mistake was thinking normalization would be quick and painless, and folding at the first storm. Reagan goes the other way. Maximum pressure. Travel restrictions back on. Radio America beaming broadcasts into the island. Cuba back on the terrorism list. And Castro? He loves it. Every sanction, every broadcast, proof of the siege he'd been warning Cubans about for 20 years. Reagan's mistake. Confusing pressure that feels strong with pressure that works. It won votes in Miami. It changed nothing in Havana. 1991. The Soviet Union collapses. Cuba loses its patron, its subsidies, a third of its economy, gone. Everyone in Washington says the same thing. Castro has months. George H.W. Bush tightens the embargo in '92 to finish the job. Castro survives. The Cuban people endure brutal scarcity. They call it the special period, and the regime endures right along with them. The mistake? Believing a collapsing economy means a collapsing government. It doesn't. Bill Clinton privately thought the embargo was a relic. But in 1996, Cuba shoots down 2 exile-piloted planes, and in an election year, Clinton signs the Helms-Burton Act. Here's why that one signature matters more than almost anything else in this story. It wrote the embargo into law. Before Helms-Burton, a president could end the embargo with a pen. After it, only Congress can. Clinton locked the door and threw the key into the Capitol. Every president since has been living with it. Which brings us to the one who finally broke the pattern. Barack Obama. Secret talks in Canada. A handshake with Raul Castro. Embassies reopened in 2015. And in 2016, an American president walks the streets of Havana. First time in 88 years. Obama said out loud what 9 predecessors wouldn't. The policy had failed. But remember Clinton's lock? The embargo itself was beyond Obama's reach. Everything he built was executive action, reversible with a signature. His mistake was betting the opening would take root before a successor could tear it out. It didn't. Within 2 years, most of it was gone. 10 presidents. Hawks and doves. Republicans and Democrats. And underneath all of them, one shared assumption, that Cuba's future would be decided in Washington. The embargo is now past 60 years old, the longest in modern history. It outlasted the Soviet Union it was built to counter. It outlasted both Castro brothers it was meant to remove. Fidel Castro outlived 10 American presidencies and died in his own bed. In his own country in 2016. 90 miles of water. It turned out to be the longest distance in American foreign policy. Not because the island was hard to reach, but because 10 different men kept navigating with the same broken map. If this episode made you think, share it with someone who believes foreign policy is simple. This has been 90 Miles Apart. Find every episode at 90milesapart.com. See you next time.